So, good day everyone. I will discuss the Indian struggle against British imperialism. So, India experienced a long period of colonial rule under the British, beginning with the British East India Company and later under direct British government control. So, this rule sparked a strong nationalist movement that eventually led to India's independence. So here, the British India Company held control over India until the Sepoy Rebellion of 1857. So this major uprising marked the beginning of widespread resistance to British rule. So in response, the British Crown took direct control in 1858. So tinatawag siyang marking British Raj. It marks the start of the British Raj. Okay. So the Indian resistance evolved over time, from early uprisings to organized political action. So the formation of the Indian National Congress in 1885 gave a platform for peaceful demands for Indian rights. So si Mahatma Gandhi later introduced non-violent resistance through his philosophy of Satyagraha, leading significant campaigns such as the Salt March 1930 and the Quit India Movement 1942. So the key figures in the independence movement, we have Mahatma Gandhi.
So let's now proceed to Japan. Colonial experience. Not colonized by the West, but faced pressure. Example given. Commodore Perry's black ships in 1853 forcing trade with the US. So, ang Japan, may iba kasi silang kasaysayan. Sabi ko nga kanina, they're not colonized by the West, but they face pressure. Gaya na lang nung 1853, dumating ang mga barko ng mga Amerikano na pinamumunuan ni Commodore Perry. Pilit nilang pinagbubukas ang Japan para sa kalakalan. So dahil walang magawa ang Japan at dahil takot rin sila na makolonize, pumayag sila kahit labag sa loob nila. So ang pangyayaring ito, tinawag nilang Black Ships na siyang nagsilbi para sa malawakang pagbabago sa Japan. Actions against imperialism. Meiji Restoration, 1868. Japan rapidly modernized its military, industry, and education to match Western powers, became an imperial power itself, defeated China in First Sino-Japanese War and Russia in the Russo-Japanese War. Para maiwasan yung pagiging biktima nila ng imperialismo, nagkaroon ng malaking pagbabago sa Japan, ang tinatawag na Meiji Restoration. Minadali nila ang pagpapaunlad ng kanilang mga hukbo, industriya at sistema ng edukasyon upang makasabay sa mga Western countries. So they didn't just defend themselves, they also became powerful. Nadaig nila yung China sa Sino-Japanese War and yung Russia naman sa Russo-Japanese War. So yun yung nagpapakita ng kanilang husay at ambisyon. Nationalism factors. Fear of colonization pushed Japan to adopt Western technology and governance while preserving Japanese identity. National pride was cultivated through Shinto beliefs and loyalty to the emperor. So yung takot ng mga Hapon na makolonize sila ng ibang bansa, ang nag-udyok sa kanila na gamitin ang Western technology and governance. Pero pinanatili pa rin nila yung kanilang sariling kultura at pagkakakilanlan. Gusto nilang ipakita na kaya nilang makipagsabayan sa mga malalakas na bansa. So their patriotism was fueled by Shinto beliefs and loyalty to the emperor, who was seen as the embodiment of their unity and strength.
Dumako naman tayo sa the rising tide of nationalism in China. Colonial experience. suffered imperialism after losing the Opium Wars to Britain. China suffered a series of humiliating defeats in the Opium Wars against Britain in the mid-19th century. These losses forced China to sign unequal treaties that granted Britain significant concessions, including control over key ports and trade routes. This period marked the beginning of a century of foreign imperialism in China. As other Western powers followed Britain's lead, carving up China's territory and exploiting its resources, this era of foreign dominance, known as the Century of Humiliation, deeply impacted Chinese national identity and fueled a desire for modernization and national strength. Second is forced to humiliating unequal treaties, for example, Treaty of Nanking, ceding Hong Kong and opening ports. Following their defeat in the Opium Wars, China was forced to sign a series of treaties with the victorious Western powers, most notably the Treaty of Nanking in 1842. So these treaties, known as the unequal treaties, they were heavily skewed in favor of the Western powers and imposed humiliating terms on China. The Treaty of Nanking, for instance, compelled China to cede Hong Kong to Britain, granting the British control over the important port city. Additionally, the treaty forced China to open 5 ports to foreign trade, giving Western powers access to Chinese markets and undermining China's traditional trade route system. These unequal treaties, along with other concessions, forced upon China, significantly weakened the Qin dynasty and fueled a sense of national humiliation among the Chinese people. They serve as a catalyst of a period of intense international reform and a design to modernize and regain national strength. Next is we will explore the fight against imperialism, a story of resilience and resistance against oppression, and a call for self-determination. Taiping Rebellion during 1850 to 1864. Massive civil war partly driven by anti-foreign sentiment. The Taiping Rebellion, a massive civil war that ravaged China from 1850 to 1864, was partly fueled by anti-foreign sentiment, as the rebellion's leader, Hong Qiuca, sought to overthrow the Qing dynasty and establish a new social order based on Christian ideals and rejection of Western influence. Boxer Rebellion during 1899 to 1901, a violent anti-foreign and anti-Christian uprising. The Boxer Rebellion is a violent anti-foreign and anti-Christian uprising that took place in China of 1899 to 1901, was fueled by the surge of nationalist sentiment and resentment towards Western imperialism. The Boxers, a secret society known for their material art skills, targeted foreigners and Chinese Christians, believing they were responsible for China's decline. Next is the 1911 Revolution, ended the Qing dynasty and established the Republic of China. The 1911 Revolution, a pivotal event in Chinese history, marked the end of the Qing dynasty, the last imperial dynasty of China, and led to the establishment of the Republic of China. This revolution, fueled by a combination of nationalist sentiment, anti-imperialist fervor, and a desire for modernization, ushered in the new era of China. Ngayon naman, we will examine the factors that fueled nationalism, a powerful force for change. The nationalism factors. Humiliation by foreign powers stirred nationalist feelings. The humiliation inflicted upon China by foreign powers during the 19th and the early 20th centuries, particularly through the Opium Wars and the subsequent unequal treaties, deeply stirred nationalist feelings among the Chinese people. This sense of national shame and desire to regain China's rightful place in the world fueled a powerful movement for modernization and national strength. The intellectual pushed for reforms based on Western ideas. For example, Sun Yat-sen's in the face of China's weakness and humiliation, intellectuals and reformers began to look forward Western ideas for solution. Prominent figures like Sun Yat-sen, a revolutionary leader, advocated for reforms based on Western principles, outlining his vision in the three principles of the people: nationalism, democracy, and livelihood. These principles aimed to unite China, establish a democratic government, and improve lives of the people, reflecting a desire to modernize and strengthen China in the face of foreign dominance.
Today, I discuss to you the awakening of nationalism in Southeast Asia. First, let us talk about the awakening of nationalism in our country, the Philippines. First, did you know that na unang sumakop sa ating bansa ay ang bansang, tama, Espanya. Ang Espanya, sinakop tayo noong 1565 hanggang 1898 bago tayo nakalaya sa mga Espanyol. Dito, malaki naging significant or naging malaking impluwensyang mga taga-Espanya ang pagiging Kristyanismo. Ang Kristyanismo, ito yung nagturo sa atin ng banal na Biblia dito sa ating bansa. And also the hierarchy-based system in race class. Ito yung PIMPI. PIMPI, ito yung Pinsolares, Insulares, Mestizo, Mestiza, yun yung mga race dito sa Guam. Nagkaroon din tayo ng mga slavery. Also the encomienda system, which granted Spanish conquistadors control over indigenous population and their labor, led to exploitation and abuse. Dito nangyari yung Guam. Yung sapilitang pagpapatrabaho ng mga Espanyol sa edad na 16 hanggang 60 sa mga kalalakihan. Ito yung tributo. And also the Spanish colonial administration was centralized with limited opportunities to Filipinos to participate in governance. Kunan din tayo ng mga Kastila. Nilimitahan tayo sa pagpapatakbo ng ating gobyerno dahil gusto nila sila lang yung mga nasa taas at tayo lang ang nasa baba. Kaya doon nagkaroon ng malakihang revolusyon na nangyari dito sa bansang Pilipinas. Salamat sa ating pambansang bayani na si Dr. Jose Rizal, na kung saan iminulat tayo sa mga nangyayari dito sa bansang Pilipinas. Minulat tayo ni Dr. Jose Rizal sa mga kabaluktutan ng mga Espanyol, sa mga paring Espanyol, sa mga gobyerno sa Espanyol. Iminulat niya tayo, kaya nagkaroon tayo ng nasyonalismo or nagkaroon tayo ng tapang upang ipaglaban ang kalayaan ng Pilipinas. Pinangunahan ng ating katipunan na pinuno na si Andres Bonifacio. Si Andres Bonifacio ay isang matapang na mandirigma. Ipinaglaban niya ang ating kalayaan sa pagtatag ng KKK or kataas-taasang kagalang-galangan na katipunan ng mga anak ng bansang Pilipinas. Pagkatapos nung tayo'y nakalaya na nga sa bansang Espanya, sinakop ulit tayo ng mga Amerika o ng mga Amerikano. Dito sa Amerika, dito nagkaroon ng takeover control ng Amerika dito sa bansang Pilipinas. nag-focus sila sa pagpapalago ng ating ekonomiya at pagpapalaganap ng edukasyon. Ang unang naging guro ng Pilipinas ay mga Thomasites. Yan. Dito, pinaglaban naman tayo ng mga katulad nila General Antonio Luna, na kung saan pinaglaban niya ang ating karapatan sa bansang Amerika. Sumunod naman ang bansang Japan. Sinakop din tayo ng bansang Japan. Salamat sa tulong ng Hukbalahap. Ang Hukbalahap ay isang gerilya na pinamumunuan na gerilyang mga Pilipino. Ang Hukbalahap, ito yung hukbo ng bayan laban sa mga Hapon. Dito pinaglaban tayo ng ating mga ancestor ng mga Pilipino sa kamay ng mga Hapon. So, basically, nang dahil kila Dr. Jose Rizal, Andres Bonifacio, ng ating mga bayani, nagkaroon tayo ng kaliwanagan na hindi dapat tayo magpapadaig na magpasakop lamang sa mga malalakas na bansa. Kailangan nating ipaglaban ng ating karapatan at ating sariling bansa. Yun ang pagiging nasyonalismo.
Let's talk about Indonesia. Colonial experience or karanasan ng Indonesia sa panahon ng pananakop. Next is colonialized by Dutch o sinakop ang Indonesia ng mga Olandes or Dutch at tinawag itong Dutch East Indies noong panahon ng kolonyalisasyon. Next is actions against imperialism. Early revolts by Diponegoro War in 1825 to 1830. Ito ay tumutukoy sa isang malaking rebellion na pinamunuan ni Prinsipe Diponegoro laban sa kolonyal na pamalaan ng Dutch. Ang digmaan na tumagal ng 5 taon ay tinatampok ang maagang paglaban sa pamumuno ng Dutch at pakikibaka ng mamayang Indones para sa kalayaan. Bagamat sa huli ay hindi matagumpay sa paggamit ng agarang kalayaan, ipinakita nito ang lakas ng anti-colonial na damdamin. Next is the rise of nationalist groups, si Bodi Otomo 1908 and Sarikat Islam by 1912. Tumutukoy sa pagusbong ng mga organisadong kilosang nasyonalista ng panahon ng kolonyal. Si Bodi Otomo ay isang maagang nasyonalistang organisasyong Japanese na nakatuon sa edukasyon at repulma sa kultura. Ang Sarikat Islam or Islamic Association ay isang mas malawak na batayan na kilusan na pinagsama ang mga layunin ng relihiyon at nasyonalista na umaakit ng mga mas malawak na hanay ng mga Indonesian. Ang mga grupo ito ang naglatag ng saligan para sa isang mas nagkakaisa at makapangyarihang kilusang nasyonalista. Next is Sukarno led the nationalist movement or declared independence in 1945. Itinampok nito ang mahalagang papel ni Sukarno, ang unang pangulo ng Indonesia. Sa pakikibaka para sa kalayaan, siya ay naging isang kilalang pinuno ng kilusang nasyonalista o pinag-isa ang mga magkakaibang grupo at nagtataguyod ng ganap na kalayaan. Ang deklarasyon ng kalayaan noong 1945 ay minargahan ang pagtatapos ng mga dekada ng pakikibaka laban sa kolonyalismo ng Dutch. Next is nationalism factors. The harsh Dutch colonial policies led to widespread poverty. Ang malupit na mga patakarang kolonyal ng Dutch ay humantong sa malawakang kahirapan. Ipinapaliwanag nito ang isang pangunahing salik na nagpapasigla sa nasyonalismo ng Indonesia. Ang mapagsamantalang mga patakaran ng pang-ekonomiya na ipinatupad ng Dutch ay nagresulta sa malawakang kahirapan sa ekonomiya ng Indonesia, nalimbikha ng sama ng loob at nagpapasigla sa pagnanais para sa sariling pagpapasya. The last is Western educated elites like Sukarno embraced the idea of a united Indonesia based on anti-colonial nationalism. Ang mga elite na may pinag-aralan sa kanluran tulad ni Sukarno ay yumakap sa ideya ng isang nagkakaisang Indonesia batay sa anti-colonial na nasyonalismo. Ipinapaliwanag na pangusap na ito ang papel ng mga edukadong elite sa paghubog ng kilusang nasyonalista o ang mga Indonesia na nakapag-aral sa mga sistemang kanluranin ay madalas na nakikipag-ugnayan sa mga nasyonalistang ideolohiya at naging instrumento sa pag-organisa at pamumuno sa kilusan para sa kalayaan.
So, we have also here the road to Malaysian nationalism and independence. So, Malaysia, located in Southeast Asia, it experienced a long period of British colonization. So, different states and territories were governed under British system, such as the Straits Settlements. Over time, the struggles against colonial rule and the rise of nationalism led Malaysia toward independence. So Britain colonized parts of Malaysia through agreements and military actions. The British established direct control over areas like Penang, Malacca, and Singapore under the Straits Settlements. So other Malay states become British protectorates. So British rule brought infrastructure development but also economic and social inequalities that favored certain groups. So there are actions against imperialism. Resistance against British rule began early. The Nanning War and Perak War were examples of local revolts against unfair British policies, especially concerning taxes and land control. So in the 20th century, nationalist movement became more organized. The United Malays National Organization